If you are actually there physically at the convention floor, then get out of here. Nobody wants you here. You're clearly just here to show off. So I'm totally kidding. Honestly, guys, this is mostly a video meant for us normies, people that were not able to go to the convention floor for one reason or another. We're here to just cry and be sad together. Honestly, we'll wipe each other's tears. We'll wipe each other's boogers off of our nostrils because that's what we're here for. Honestly, though, you already know the rule. If you have a mustache, you're not allowed to cry. You can shave it and then cry and then grow it back later, but you can't have both simultaneously. You can't have tears and a mustache. That's just the rules. I don't make them up, okay? Anyways, all nonsense aside, in today's video, I essentially wanted to kind of compress all of the information from San Diego Comic-Con up to this point, and I know that's virtually impossible. I'm not going to try to cover every single OM because that's absolutely insane. I'm probably just going to do McFarlane, a little bit of Hasbro, and I'll throw in a couple of other things here and there. And I am obviously basing myself off of other content creators that are there at the moment. The legend himself, Shartimus Prime, and then I did use a little bit of one of my favorite content creators out there, Toyshiz. I used some of his footage and just kind of took some screenshots. And then obviously I think McFarlane had an official video reveal of some of the stuff that they had up on display. So that's mostly what I'm going to be talking about or covering. If you guys are interested in watching any of like the live raw stuff, I'll post a link in the description. You guys can go ahead and check out their content or the original video that I took some of the screenshots from. Now, something that isn't necessarily a reveal, but it got showcased again at San Diego Comic-Con. I believe we've seen the images at multiple different conventions. This is maybe like the second or third time that I have personally seen Giant Man. But if those articulated fingers don't get it going for you, I just don't know what will. They look phenomenal. And the fact that this guy can hold a 6-inch action figure with those articulated joints is absolutely insane. I thought they were going to be a little bit looser, and so I didn't expect him to be able to hold anything too heavy. But as you guys can see, that is clearly wrong. Not only that, the face plates look phenomenal. Great sculpt work, great paint. The figure just looks great. And I am genuinely saying that because I actually did not even pre-order this figure. I was not a part of the funding campaign, but I'm excited for those that did and those that will be receiving the figure soon. Hasbro also did a phenomenal job of showcasing how good the figure looks displayed with other Marvel Legends in like an action sequence. It really stands out, and the insane amount of options here is just completely off the charts. Shartimus also caught a quick little brief glimpse at the Death Head action figure, and it looks phenomenal as well. Great paint. You can definitely see that there's some intricacy to the body mold. It's not just all plain and boring. There's some texture to it. There's some damage to some of his armor pieces, and that head sculpt just looks phenomenal. They also had some VHS action figures out on display for those people that haven't been able to really get a good look at the figure, although at this point everybody that wanted to pick them up probably already has. But the other couple of figures that really stood out were the new Carnage and Venom action figures from the live action Let There Be Carnage film. And I said this before and I'll say it again, I'm not a huge fan of these body molds. They look a little bit weird. The proportions are a little bit off, and it's on full display here. I'll never be able to get over those weirdly curved feet from Venom, and then how long and sleek his legs are. And I think that kind of rings true with the Carnage figure as well. But I've said this before, the deluxe Carnage gives me hope that in the future we'll see something like this for a regular comic book based Carnage, maybe with some extra weaponry that can be swapped in and out of the hands, some extra bendy wire tentacles or things of that nature coming out from his back. I think this deluxe Carnage definitely opens up the door for just an endless amount of possibilities. They also had the entire Blackheart Build-A-Figure Marvel Legends wave, and it's crazy to think that we're finally getting a Blackheart after all of these years. The last time that we got one was from Toy Biz, and I want to say it was maybe like close to 20 years ago. There are definitely some interesting characters in this entire wave, but obviously Blackheart is the main focal point here. Not only that, it is worth mentioning that there are actually a few reviews, if I'm not mistaken, at the moment of this recording from some pretty big time YouTubers out there. So I believe this wave has been trickling out here and there for the most part, but it was really nice to actually see it in display. They also had both Legacy Collections, Wolverine and Deadpool, on display, and they look absolutely phenomenal. Deadpool is definitely one that's on my wish list. If I'm able to find him in person, I'm definitely going to pick it up. I've heard great things. I heard the texturing and overall the sculpt work is really well done, on top of the great accessories, especially with Deadpool. And I have seen some pictures leaking online of people being able to find these in person, so definitely be on the lookout for those. We also got a very brief glimpse at the Man-Thing action figure, and I know the promotional images showed that the figure had a lot of texturing, a lot of great sculpt work, and a phenomenal paint job, a great wash on it. But seeing this through a camera lens, but in the flesh, I think is a completely different experience. They definitely went all out with this particular figure. I will say that it is a little bit late, just because this figure had a little bit of a spike in interest back in the day with the werewolf film, but still, it's yet another figure to add to the wish list. They also had the new Odin action figure, and if you guys have followed the channel for any period of time, you guys will know that I kind of bashed the price point for this particular figure. The sculpt work is phenomenal. It does look like a pretty big and beefy figure, but I still don't understand that $60 price point. Regardless, it actually did look really well displayed in that glass display case. So maybe I am wrong. Let me know down below. Am I wrong or right about the price point for this particular figure? But it is definitely eye-catching regardless. They also had that Iron Fist Luke Cage 2-pack, as well as that Walmart Collector Con Venom. And really interesting about that Venom, as a side note, it's still, at least at the moment of this recording, it's still up for pre-order, and this is like 2 days after the figure went up for pre-order. Very interesting. I'm not sure if this figure just is not selling, or if there were quite a few of these manufactured for Walmart, but it's very rare. Usually when Walmart has some exclusives, especially if it's a Marvel Legend of a main character, usually they sell out within like maybe a few minutes or even a day or two. But now we're headed into the third day and the Venom is still available. And then they also had the Hulkbuster, obviously one of the newer deluxe action figures, but the two biggest reveals, at least in my personal opinion, had to be the new Kang the Conqueror deluxe action figure in his chair or his throne with the extra accessories. And there are multiple different sources or different people commenting on this, saying that this figure will be available for $60. I believe at the convention they were saying that it will be available or it will go up for pre-order later in the fall. We also got to take a look at that 2-pack Sentinel release, which everybody is going crazy for. The Sentinel's obviously based on the video game rather than anything else, because usually Sentinels tend to be pretty big. But at least from the information that I'm reading online, it seems like it's going to be about a little bit over 7 inches. So they're not necessarily like Build-A-Figure size, but they are bigger than most action figures or most of your Avengers or X-Men figures. They will come with some extra repulsor effects, as well as a rock accessory piece, which is obviously a nod to the video game. This is supposed to be retooling of that Iron Man Mark 9 suit, if I'm not mistaken. And look, I'll be brutally honest with you guys, I am a little bit disappointed at the size. The scale is a little bit smaller. I think in the video game they're a little bit taller, but it is what it is. They are going to be offered in a 2-pack, and I believe that should go up for pre-order this Saturday. Depending on when I upload this video, it could be Friday night or sometime Saturday. But yeah, it would have gone up. I believe the Hasbro Pulse members, the people that have the membership, should be able to order this or pre-order this an hour before, and then after that it will be available to the public. Now for the DC side of things, I did use some of Toyshiz's videos as a source for the images. So if you guys are interested in watching that, I will put a link in the description. But we did get a closer look at some phenomenal things. I personally did not even know that McFarlane was going to go back, do some Walking Dead, but at least from the images that I saw for one of the displays, it looked like they had a Rick and a Michonne action figure from the live action AMC show, and at least from what I could tell, they are supposed to be in that like 7-inch scale. They look really well done, they look really well sculpted, only time will tell. I've said this before and I'll say it again, I think like the first 3 to 4 seasons from The Walking Dead are absolutely brilliant. It only goes downhill from there, but I am a huge fan of the Walking Dead franchise. We also got a pretty good look at the Centennial Park statue, and I should reiterate this, I think I forgot to mention it, but I did also use some images from the McFarlane video that he had. He had like a video where he was promoting some of his displays, so it's kind of mixed in there, both Toyshiz's images as well as McFarlane's. But essentially we got a close look at it. I said this when this figure got announced, not really too excited. It's essentially the exact same Superman and the exact same Falcon accessory or Hawk accessory, but just in that like bronze/gold color for the paint. Although I will say it makes way more sense than some of the previous releases from McFarlane, where an action figure is all gold or it's all white for absolutely no reason. This actually makes sense. It's supposed to represent the statue of Superman, I guess, after he passes away in the comic book series in the 90s. We also got a really quick look at the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive 3-pack Superpowers Justice League figures. As I said before, it features Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman in alternate colors with that special packaging for the convention. We also got a really good look at the Agent Liberty action figure. I think this is supposed to go up for pre-order sometime soon, or already has. I initially thought that this figure was going to be a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, but it appears that it was available there, but then would also be available at multiple different retailers. So if you guys are interested, definitely keep an eye out because the pre-orders should be popping up anytime now. We also got a closer look at that Adam West Batman that people are jizzing over, and if I'm not mistaken, this particular figure is already sold out in terms of pre-orders. The first that I heard of this figure, it was just like this teaser promotional image. I didn't really get a look at any accessories, but now that the pre-order window is open, we get a closer look at it and it looks absolutely phenomenal. And then there was also that Reborn Batman, I think is what they're calling it. Looks really good as well. Both of those were on display. And then both Cyborg and Darkseid made an appearance, and I really don't want to get into Darkseid because that brings a lot of pain to my soul. I completely whiffed on the pre-order window, and so I basically have to wait for it to pop up in store because I know it's already going for almost $100 online. I was actually really hoping that they would give us this exact same body mold or something similar to this body mold, but with the color scheme of like a Rebirth era. I'm just really hoping that they decide to re-release this particular Darkseid somehow because I desperately need it in my display. They also had this really weird Hugo Strange figure, or I guess I should say it's Hugo Strange in a Batman suit. And I know exactly what's going on here. McFarlane is essentially taking two figures that he's already going to release in the foreseeable future, and he's just kind of meshing them together. He's probably going to use this Hugo Strange head sculpt later down the line with a Hugo Strange body mold, but he figured, hey, I'm going to make even more money by just meshing it together with this particular Batman body mold that we've been releasing for quite some time now. It's a really dirty move from McFarlane, but hey, if you're interested, now you know it's on the horizon. But for me, it just doesn't really get me going. Doesn't really do anything for me personally. And then we also got a closer look at the Jonah Hex Deluxe action figure. And I've said this before, this may be the most exciting deluxe figure that we've seen in quite some time. Unfortunately, it does come in that 2-pack with that overly used horse that we've received like 3 to 4 times at this point from McFarlane. But it does come with soft goods as well as a plethora of different accessories. Now, there were definitely some great reveals, but the one that I am definitely the most excited about, or I should say the one that I'm the most proud of, has to be that Dark Knight Returns alternate Bruce Wayne action figure. This is exactly what we have been asking for. I completely get it, McFarlane. You have to reuse body molds. You have to reuse accessories. That's all great, but it's something as simple as this. You're reusing that Dark Knight Returns body mold. All you're really doing is throwing on some new paint on it and then adding a new head sculpt. That's it. And that gives you a completely new reason to pick this figure up, even though there is a lot of reuse there, but it's adding value to your display. Now you can choose or alternate between having your regular Dark Knight or your battle damaged version. This is just a beautiful looking figure. I am very excited. And as I said, even though this body mold I did not love, it's completely outdated and it's almost like 2 years too late, I am really excited. This is kind of what I think McFarlane should be doing. Don't re-release figures in all gold plastic. Do something unique like this. Make the collectors pull out some legitimate dough for your figures. I absolutely love this. They also showed off some DC Direct figures from the animated Batman film, and then they showed off some Superpowers figures, and then the tumbler with Bruce Wayne and Lucius. So a plethora of different things for different people. I don't really collect too much from the DC Direct or the animated series, and I definitely don't collect anything from the Superpowers. But if you guys are interested, those are all on display at the San Diego Comic-Con event. If you guys are interested in seeing a closer look at these, as I said, you can check out Toyshiz's video. But just great coverage from these guys. They did a phenomenal job of getting in close and giving us really good looks of these figures. But as I said, this is a condensed version. I don't want to go into every single figure that was on display because a lot of it we've already received, we already have it at home, or it's right around the corner and we've already talked about it incessantly. And yes, we are only covering Hasbro's Marvel Legends line as well as McFarlane's DC Multiverse and DC Direct. We'll kind of circle back around and talk about other stuff that I may have missed, and then we'll eventually talk about like Black Series and other lines that I did not cover today. I just didn't want to make a gigantic 30-minute video. I just don't have the patience for something like that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you guys did, don't forget to let me know down below what other kind of stuff do you guys want to see for the channel, and also what figure are you the most excited about when it comes down to San Diego Comic-Con. There's quite a bit to choose from. Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, make sure you enjoy the hobby. That's the most important part of this. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you.